While we look down at our phones, they'll drop a bomb from a drone, then an explosion. We should have known it. We stood on top of mountains, we've been to space before. We had our dogs and houses, we dug up dinosaurs. We built those bombs are dropping, we fought in all their wars. Now that the sky...
Breaking news, the U.S. and the United Kingdom are beginning to strike Houthi targets in Yemen. The Iranian-backed militia has launched a constant barrage of drone and missile attacks at ships in the Red Sea, delaying shipping globally. Well, CBS's Nancy Cordes has the very latest now from the White House. Good evening, Nancy. What do we know?
Good evening, Nora. Moments ago, CBS News confirmed that these joint airstrikes by the UK and the US on military positions in Yemen are now underway. This marks the first time the U.S. has fired on Yemen since the Israel-Hamas war began in October. The U.S. has been warning these Iran-backed Houthis that it would hit back after 27 attacks on international shipping in the Red Sea since November. In fact, just on Tuesday, the U.S. Navy had to shoot down 21 Houthi missiles and drones that were fired from Yemen. Those Houthi missiles, by the way, are provided by Iran. Now, the Houthis say their strikes on ships are retaliation for Israeli strikes in Gaza. But a coalition of world leaders, including the U.S. and the U.K., they say these commercial vessels have nothing to do with the conflict. And it isn't just the Houthis that have been targeting commerce in the region. Just today, a Greek oil tanker that was on its way to Turkey was seized by Iran in the Gulf of Oman. And incidents like this are fueling fears, Nora, that this conflict could escalate and eventually draw the U.S. into direct confrontation with Iran.
All right, Nancy Cordes with that breaking news out of the White House. Thank you.
On coalition strikes in Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen. He says this: "Today, at my direction, U.S. military forces, together with the United Kingdom and with support from Australia, Bahrain, Canada and the Netherlands, successfully conducted strikes against a number of targets in Yemen used by Houthi rebels to endanger freedom of navigation in one of the world's most vital waterways." President Biden goes on, "These strikes are in direct response to unprecedented Houthi attacks against international maritime vessels in the Red Sea, including the use of anti-ship ballistic missiles for the first time in history. These attacks have endangered US personnel, civilian mariners and our partners, jeopardized trade and threatened freedom of navigation. More than 50 nations have been affected in 27 attacks on international commercial shipping. Crews from more than 20 countries have been threatened or taken hostage in acts of piracy. More than 2,000 ships have been forced to divert thousands of miles to avoid the Red Sea, which can cause weeks of delays in product shipping times. And on January the 9th, Houthis launched their largest attack to date, directly targeting American ships." The president goes on. He says the response of the international community to these reckless attacks has been united and resolute. Last month, the United States launched Operation Prosperity Guardian, a coalition of more than 20 nations committed to defending international shipping and deterring Houthi attacks in the Red Sea. We also joined more than 40 nations in condemning Houthi threats. Last week, together with 13 allies and partners, we issued an unequivocal warning that Houthi rebels would bear the consequences if their attacks did not cease. And yesterday, the United Nations Security Council passed a resolution demanding the Houthis end attacks on merchant and commercial vessels. The president finishes saying this: "Today's defensive action follows this extensive diplomatic campaign and Houthi rebels' escalating attacks against commercial vessels. These targeted strikes are a clear message that the United States and our partners will not tolerate attacks on our personnel or allow hostile actors to imperil freedom of navigation in one of the world's most critical commercial routes. I will not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and the free flow of international commerce as necessary. So there you go, Gillian. That is the statement from President Joe Biden tonight. No indication as to the exact targets yet, but new information speaking about the partners who were involved in that, not just the United Kingdom. There was also support from Australia, Bahrain, Canada, and the Netherlands in this operation, which, as we have been reporting,
Joe Biden may have just triggered World War III. Without notifying Congress, Joe Biden just launched a massive attack against Iranian-backed rebels in Yemen. It's being reported that more than a dozen sites were targeted in the country. The strikes came from land, sea, and air. This was a massive operation that just took place in Yemen, and it's coming under a lot of scrutiny already from Democrats and Republicans in Congress. And it's a pretty interesting list. We have Rashida Tlaib, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Matt Gaetz all on the same page on this one. They believe that President Biden violated the War Powers Act by failing to notify Congress, and they're furious. The president may have just started his third war, and he didn't even bother to notify Congress what was happening. And this is, getting out of control very quickly. We are going to wait and see how our allies respond and how the Iranians respond. And I should mention too that this attack was carried out with the assistance of the United Kingdom, but this is a major development. I don't know if Biden's trying to posture himself as a wartime president by getting us into a third world war, but he's playing with fire, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Let me know what you guys think.
We got a huge update of what's going on with Yemen right now. If you didn't know, the United States and the United Kingdom just struck targets in Yemen. There's protests going on right now. And now Vladimir Putin himself has called an emergency meeting. He believes this is a violation of the United Nations. And another thing that's scary, some experts have believed that this red circle right here, all United States bases could be under attack by Yemen. If you haven't already, go ahead and like and follow. I'm going to keep you guys updated with everything going on. TikTok, for whatever reason, does not like me promoting this type of content. Even Joe Biden himself has confirmed that they have strike targets, so I'm not really sure what this is all about.
Nah, Donald Trump is a savage. Listen to what this man just said about Joe Biden.
Crooked Joe Biden is not only dumb and incompetent, I believe that he has gone mad. A stark, raving lunatic with his horrible and country-threatening environmental open borders and DOJ, FBI weaponization policies. He is a mental catastrophe that is leading our country to hell. We'll end up in World War III because of this man, and for no reason whatsoever.
This comes after the news that the United States and the UK carry out strikes in Yemen. And if you really sit and think about it, what is the only way we don't have a presidential election? Oh, if World War III actually starts, Biden doesn't have to leave office. They can't get Trump on indictments. He's going to beat those. They can't keep him off the ballot. He's going to be on the ballot after the Supreme Court rules against it. The Republican Party, there's nobody in there that's going to beat him. And Joe Biden is not going to beat him in the election. So what is the last resort that they are going to try to line up to keep Donald Trump out of office? World War III. Get ready for it, my friends.
Joe Biden is not only dumb and incompetent, I believe that he has gone mad. A stark, raving lunatic with his horrible and country-threatening environmental open borders and DOJ, FBI weaponization policies. He is a mental catastrophe that is leading our country to hell. We'll end up in World War III because of this man, and for no reason whatsoever. Thank you.